Next up, we're going to be moving on to what we all feel are our best 11s for the Bangalore franchise. So we're going to start with the fan over here. Rohan, do you want to give what you think is your best 11 for RCB this season?
Sure, let's go.
With
So I
a bit
think,
of justification.
yep, sure. I think I'll start off opening with Joshua Felipe and Devdutt Padikkal. Then go with Kohli, AB de Villiers. Then Shivam Dube, Parthiv Patel, Washington Sundar. And I think this is the weakest part of the team so far. And then going for the bowlers, I think Udana, Saini, Stain, and Chahal.
That was a
Okay,
lot of
just repeat that. Just repeat that.
And
Sure. So which part
Just start again. Start again. Just yeah.
Sure. So Joshua Felipe and Devdutt Padikkal as openers. Then we have Kohli and AB de Villiers as 3 and 4. Then middle order is Shivam Dube, Parthiv Patel, and Washington Sundar. Then you have Isuru Udana, Saini, Stain, and Chahal as the bowlers.
why
Okay.
Udana?
Yeah,
Oh,
why-
I think Udana's gonna be by far our best bowler this season, and I was watching him closely in the World Cup, happened 2 years ago, and I think he's the most underrated player. I've seen some of the behind the scenes videos of RCB for the auction, and they were willing to pay I think 6 to 9 lakhs for him, and they ended up paying like 6 to 9 crores for him, and they ended up paying 20 lakhs for him. And so I think everybody in the auction really missed out on his talent there. I think he's an amazing death bowler, especially with his slower off cutters, and also he can be very, very threatening with the bat, especially in a T20 game if he needs to come in for like 3-4 overs and just whack the ball.
Yeah,
I think he can do that as well.
I remember him scoring a really quick fire 80 in one of the games.
Exactly, right?
He scored like 50.
Yeah.
But that's a big.
Am I missing something? I don't
RCB
see what's special about him.
RCB.
I don't either. I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's very like
10.5 crores on Morris. So for them to
Yeah,
not to pick Morris, that's a big call.
I think, yeah, I will say that I've seen Udana much more than Morris, and maybe that's because of that I'm missing him out. But I think we should have paid much less for Morris and much more for Udana. And so I think I'm going to stick with this. I think if they play Udana for most of their games, especially on slower wickets, it'll be a very good thing.
What about one other question? Why Felipe ahead of Finch?
If you've seen him,
because when you're doing that, you've got Parthiv anyway at 5, which that's another question. Why is Parthiv so low?
Yeah. I think if you've seen the Big Bash last season, you will know Joshua Felipe's his talent and his real knack to score lots of runs quickly. And so if he can do that job properly, and this is all contingent on him having enough confidence to come in and play the same way he plays in the Big Bash. And I think if that doesn't happen, maybe give him some chance. But if that doesn't happen, then of course you put in Finch there because you have a well-known and reputed player there. But I think Finch is just as useful off the pitch as he is on the pitch, and Joshua Felipe can give you that wicket-keeping option and also that explosive batting option, which really relieves the load of Kohli and de Villiers. And so I think because of that, if it goes well, Felipe could be a good thing. And of course, I tried to make my 11 a bit controversial, just to have something to talk about. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but I think this 11 would work really well.
I think Finch is criminally underrated in T20s. For someone who averages 36, strike rate 143, and has made almost 9,000 runs in the format, to not include him while he is the third best T20 batsman in the world, is wild.
I've got Finch in my lineup, but just a point to support Rohan is that Finch has played for most of the IPL franchises and he doesn't get retained much. So I mean, his relationship with the IPL is not that great. Like he's not really performed that well in the IPL as he has in international cricket, which could be a factor why he's gone for the raw talent of Felipe.
But my question to you guys is that I prefer Finch over Felipe, but it's also for me like the conditions are so different in the UAE. I don't see how Joshua Felipe is going to be able to adapt incredibly quickly versus a Finch who has the experience, who's played there before. You know, Felipe is a great talent, but the pitches in Australia are very, very different to the ones in UAE. The conditions are harder. So, you know, for me, it's just like you'd firstly take that risk or go with the experienced person you know who can adapt, even if he has a bit of a personality?
Just a point to add against my own point. Finch averages 2 in the UAE in T20 internationals. So
Really?
in 5 innings, he's made 10 runs in 5 innings at a strike rate of 32.
I think that answers Noor's question as well.
Was that like 2018-ish? Like
Yeah, I mean, it was between 2014 and 2018.
Yeah, so then, see, but then they were playing, that's the Pakistan series you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think it might have been, yeah.
That's unfair because the entire Australian team played like shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but I'm just saying, just to balance up the odds.
Anyway. So
Yeah.
I think we have grilled Rohan enough on his team.
No. Also, like, I just want to like give one more point in, right? And just to answer Noor's thing, like, of course, you can go with experience and established thing. Like, of course, fair enough. You can do that. It's the safest choice, I believe. Like, no one's going to get fired by choosing Finch over Felipe. But I think if you want to like throw a wild card in an already like really unpredictable tournament with like new conditions, like I don't know what opponents will think once you see Felipe in the starting lineup. I really, and they may maybe underestimate him and not know how to bowl to him. And so that could be a small advantage, especially in the opening for few matches, just to give it a shot and see, we might as well try. And so if that doesn't work out, you can easily put Finch in. That's going to be fine. But I think if you start off with this, you're going to really like get into the opponent's head.
Yeah, I should add, I do think Philippe is good, but I don't think he's as good as Aaron Finch.
Okay, now Kabir has analyzed this team enough. So Kabir, let's hear your 11.
Okay, so I'm going to go with mine. I'm going to start with Finch and Padikkal. I think Ahaan has a little bit to say about Padikkal later. A little bit of a fanboy, but I think Padikkal's really good as well. Then Kohli at 3, obviously. De Villiers at 4. I've gone with Moeen at 5. And then I've gone with Dubé at 6 and Morris at 7. So that's your sort of like middle to late order, with Washington Sundar at 8. Ideally, I don't think he's as good a batsman as a lot of people think he is. I don't think he has that level of finishing in T20 cricket or actually in sort of high level cricket. But he's a very good bowler. Then Yadav, then Saini, and Yuzvendra Chahal, obviously. Hit me.
I can't. I have the exact same team.
Perfect.
I have a question.
I have the exact same team.
Yes, great minds. Great minds.
Same minds.
Don't you think it's a bit of overkill on the batting? Don't you feel like staying could provide a better option in the bowling lineup?
I almost think it's an overkill in the bowling because my 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 all bowl.
But you're okay.
Because actually, there's not an overkill in the batting because I don't think Dubé will provide you more than 20 runs in an innings. I don't think Morris will do the same. I don't think Sundar will do the same. And I think Moeen is hit and miss. So it's still very reliant on that top order to make the runs. And then after that, it is, Dubé will chip in with 15 of 10 and Morris will do the same thing. And Sundar will get 12 of 8 or something like that. That's kind of what I think RCB's finishing will look like. I don't think it's going to be someone with the big innings. I think it's going to be like a little bit.
You've got a team with Kohli and ABD. At 3 and 4, you expect the lower order to not come in before, let's say, 16, 17 overs. So they've anyway got less overs to bat.
I mean, you say that, but like that hasn't been the case in the past, right?
I mean, it depends what kind of a season those two have, but let's see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if Kohli makes 900 runs in a season again, then there's not going to be any issues at all.
I mean, they didn't win the league even in that season, so.
Yeah, they came to the finals. Close enough.
Anyway, Noor, do you want to? I mean, you basically said you have the same 11.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give my justifications for it as well, I guess. So it's Finch, Padikkal, Virat, AB, Ali, Dubé, Morris, Sundar, Yadav, Sani, Chahal. Same thing as Kabir. I was struggling. I'll tell you the decisions I was struggling between. It's, should I put Patel? I was like, where do you put him? I feel like he's not the greatest middle order batsman, so so for me it was between Padikkal and Patel for the second opening spot. But I think you should go for the younger talent. He's up and coming. He has real potential, so I went for him. And then the second decision was Chris Morris or Saini. I think in order for this team to have balance, Moeen Ali is crucial because that middle order looks really weak without him. Even if he's not the biggest hitter in the world, you know that if there are people collapsing next to you, he's a great test cricketer. He'll just rotate the strike. You know, like
Great
I,
test, Moeen Ali.
I think he's okay. I think he's, you know, when
Great test team
he
anymore.
was, guys, in his peak, he was really good. Come on, you
George
cannot,
Debelle loves him.
huh?
George Debelle, the writer at Cricinfo, he loves him.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah. I think when
Shout
he
out
was
George Debelle. Come on the
Wait.
podcast.
I think no. I think when he was in his peak, he was really good. But I also think he has a lot of experience with Dubé there that can really help there. Chris Morris adds that, and he's also my death bowler, which is why I have him. So I think it's good because my death bowling is going to be Morris and Sani, and then Chahal and Sundar and Moeen Ali will take the middle overs and Umesh Yadav up top. So I think that's a pretty well balanced team for RCB.
Yeah. My decision for Morris is between Morris and Steyn. I think he's a little bit more batting and he gives you that finishing ability that a more consistent finishing ability than I'd say a Dubé or a Sundar Gill.
Yeah.
That's why I want.
No, you said something about I think the bowling is overkill. That's why I was struggling as well. I was like, I have so many all-rounders here. I don't really need these many bowling options. So I don't mind playing a Chris Morris. Even if he's expensive one game, I have so many backup options, you know? So it's fine. It's like it really I don't need another complete pacer.
100%. And also, like, do you really want Shivam Dubé bowling 4 overs? No. Do you want Moeen Ali bowling 4 overs? No. Actually, maybe, but probably not.
Pitch depends on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to call you tomorrow, bro. I'm telling you.
Huh?
Owen Morgan is going to call you tomorrow about.
Also, Moeen batted well yesterday. Batted really well yesterday.
Anyway, I'm against my 11 now because these two are in too much agreement. So let's spice this up a little bit.
No, I think like before you start there, right? I think, of course, what you guys said makes sense, and I see the like your rationale behind it. But like the only thing I would do to this team is replace Morris for Udana. I really think like if it's a slow if it's a slower pitch, I'm telling you right now, Udana's by far the better player.
Let me just clear something for you. So Udana is going to be playing on flat wickets in the UAE. He doesn't bowl faster than 135 kilometers an hour. His economy rate is trending upwards, not downwards, and has been for the last 3 years. There's no like, I don't see the reasoning behind it.
I think he has that X factor, and I think we'll get to the X factor part of this thing later. And I think he is a match winner, and he has. Sorry.
You've got more Udana fanboying coming up after this.
For sure. He's a match winner, and he has that grit. I feel like he has that grit which will like win you games, and when things get tough.
But what in his sort of career summary has shown you that he's this match winner?
His performance in the World Cup for Sri Lanka. Like I'm basing this whole hypothesis on that. to be very honest, and I was really impressed by that. And he was someone which I did.
10 games.
I have a question for you. Was it just his performance by itself, or was it his performance in comparison to how bad his other members of his team played?
No, I think it was his performance in those circumstances. It was like when the game is getting this tough, like he takes a responsibility, and like if it's getting messy, he doesn't mind it. He still like does his best and like has that grit and perseverance to push through, no matter like how messed up the situations are. And so I think
this is 2019 World Cup.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm just having a look at the numbers.
That's it. We're gonna move
Actually,
on.
sorry, go on. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
I'm gonna start with my 11.
Yeah,
now.
go ahead, Ahaan.
Okay, we've had enough Udana discussion. I'm sure there's more coming up later. But
by the way, can I just say, I thought he would be one of the most irrelevant players in this entire podcast.
Yeah, me too. I was like, why is this become a Isuru Udana podcast?
Anyway, next, my 11 is basically Finch and Particle opening, as I think Noor and Kabir also have. Particle, for me, there was never a question because if Parthiv has, as soon as I knew that AB is taking the gloves because of his training, this team was set for me because the only reason Parthiv would have played is because he would have had to take the gloves. But as soon as I knew that AB was basically practicing to take the gloves, Particle's got in the Mushtaq Ali Trophy, he had 580 runs at a strike rate of 170 plus. and an average of like 65 runs. You can't not play someone who's that good. And then I've got obviously Kohli and AB, 3-4. Then I've got Dubey, Morris, Sundar, 5-6-7. Morris can come up if you need it. If you need more explosive hitting, maybe Dubey can come up if you need it. I feel he's slightly a better batsman than Morris. And then I've got Stein at 8, Yadav at 9, Saini at 10, and Yuzvendra Chahal to finish it. If it's a really slow wicket, let's say later in the IPL when all the wickets have been played on, then I could consider, instead of Stein, if you want to have a third spinner, maybe in Yuzvendra, Adam Zampa, who they've just got in. Or if you want to play Udana as a fast bowling all-rounder who's good with the slower deliveries, then I can see that as a possible option, because I don't think Stein now can play 14 games. So you have an option to basically tinker over there. And I think they've got enough batting with Dubey, Morris, and Sundar 5, 6, and 7. And then you can have, maybe if it doesn't work out initially, then you can again drop Stein and get maybe Ali in to bat higher up the order, or have Felipe as well to bat up the order. So let's see. That was my
Yeah, I mean, Stain's shoulder is hanging on by a thread, number one. Number two, what was I going to say? Who was I going to say?